pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
40, approve the agenda. We are going to strike letter B and D under new business. So you probably need to reference that in your privilege.
Motion approved. Second.
Earl,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Jennifer. Yes.
First thing tonight's a public hearing to approve bid letting for Rebecca Drive, Neville Avenue Street Improvement Project.
I make a motion, we open the public hearing.
Second. Josh,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Jennifer. Yes. Earl,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes.
Any comments tonight?
Just go through the motions on that.
Okay. No comments? All right. Motion to close.
Close public hearing. Second.
Don,
Yes.
Jennifer. Yes. Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Earl.
Yes.
Approve resolution to approve bid letting for Rebecca Drive, Neville Avenue Street Improvement Project.
Approve resolution to approve the bid letting for Rebecca Drive and Meadow Ave Street.
Second.
Josh,
Yes.
Earl.
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Jake. Yes.
Just a couple things. Favorite week next week, homecoming, so we'll be busy. And then we're gonna start a new program. We're teaming up with the elementary school. Gonna kind of piggyback off of our Shop with the Cop program. We're gonna have the school teachers, essentially what it'll be, they're gonna turn in sheets, say they see Jake do something really nice at school. And then after the end of 2 weeks or whatever, we're gonna draw some names. They get to come out. We're gonna have like a toy chest out at the PD, so they get a write-in police car. Essentially kind of trying to help with the behavior stuff at the school and then try to get us in the school a little bit. It'll all be donated stuff. Won't be anything out of our budget or anything. So kind of a cool little thing that we're getting ready to start here. That's all.
I rode in a cop car once. It helped me out too.
Couldn't do
Thank you for your update. Yeah. Jeffrey.
Fire department, not much going on. We're getting ready for Fire Prevention Week in October. Next Tuesday night, we're having PRI come in. We're doing industrial machine extrication training. Everybody's welcome to attend. Bonfires on Wednesday, parade's on Friday, and that's all we got going right there as far as code enforcement's going. Been working with a few people and individuals about removing their vehicles. Still trying to chase down a gentleman about his weeds and just general follow-ups right now. Hopefully I'll get back on a couple rental inspections so I can get back on that for the snow flies.
Thank you. Mutual Center.
Actually, I have incomplete data tonight compared to what I've been given the last several months. You'll have just one sheet related to this item. The other two sheets relate to item 8C, which we'll discuss in a minute. You can see profit and loss through August of this year. I don't have a comparable sheet for last year. That's my fault. I could not find my copy, and I usually keep copies of everything. Also, I don't have the regular August report because our computer people that keep track of our expenses could not get a complete August income and expense sheet to print. So that's what we have January through August, and I feel secure in saying that we're doing noticeably better this year than we were at the same period last year. I'm not quite sure why that is. I haven't analyzed every item on here, but I'll have a complete or a better report for you next month.
Can I add some things to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that there's a lot of transparency between the commission and the city council and the board of supervisors. I don't think everything is getting relayed back to what is really going on with the Mutual Center, like the positive aspects of it. Some great things that we've done is the chalk wall. Whitney Danos and Taylor painted that large chalk wall in the gym. And they have community pictures up there. Children can ride on it. It's like how tall they are. There's all these people that are on there. The kids absolutely love it. Dawn has been working on the landscaping. That was the topic last meeting. I am going to talk to the Board of Supervisors about splitting that cost. So we'll see how that goes. And then the HVAC repair, we got that up and going, and that has been a big hassle with the contractor. But it sounds like it is cool in there now, and it's up and going. The front desk check-in membership issue, Kyle Miller's been working on a customized app for the MCC so that they can do memberships, signups, daily usage can all be tracked from one location. And eventually the memberships can be renewed automatically. And that is being custom designed for MCC, and it's all being done basically on volunteer basis. The Paint Iowa Beautiful project was completed. Taylor painted both the men and the women's bathroom, which lasted approximately 3 days before the boys peeled all the paint off in the bathroom. So that's going to be sort of a constant issue until we come up with some sort of solution. So if anyone has an idea besides sitting someone in the bathroom to watch the kids constantly, we would love to hear a solution.
So what did they
Put a
do?
lock on the door so they can't go out.
What did they do?
They
Peel paint, large.
peel, they'll find like, where there's even like a little speck or something, and then they peel off huge sections of it. And it took 3 days for them to do this.
Sounds like they need to ride the cup.
They can oblige.
Is there a different type of paint though that would not, that should wouldn't adhere to the wall or existing paint?
Well, for us to go back in, and we've talked about this, is that we could go back in and texture everything and try and figure out if we can get it to grab better, but that's like a whole nother, Taylor went in on her time on the week off and painted everything, along with she cleaned all the bathroom floors basically with a toothbrush, trying to get all the grout cleaned off of it. So the painting is a large project just for one person to go in and paint both of the bathrooms.
Enamel would hold up better, but since it's been painted with latex, you can't do that.
We'd have to go in and remove
You
everything.
have to strip
I
it.
said just wallpaper it. Some sort of wall. CMTEL, there was some discussions with CMTEL on possibly coming up with some projects, and I know Taylor's really looking to basically create some sort of a technology room that has either treadmills, Oxford, a kiosk, like a fitness on demand program. She's really wanting to sort of bring the technology up for her customers in MCC. And then a new one is that Whitney Danos is going to partner with MCC for a trunk or treat on Saturday, October 29th in the MCC parking lot. Community members will park and dress up their vehicles and decorate their trunks. Kids can dress up and trick or treat, and there'll be competition for the best decorated vehicle. Some of the other things is that the MCC did finalize its contract with Davis County Schools. That will be paid quarterly. We're working on a contract with Dawn through the Christ Community Church. In the last windstorm, there was a small piece of exterior siding that was ripped off the top of the balcony. We did find out that they no longer make that size. So we're having to go back in, and they're going to have to redo the whole top part of it, which is being covered by insurance and with the adjuster. The county, when I talked to the county, they are going to pay their sums quarterly. I will be sending them an invoice with a quarterly report similar to what I'm reading you now. There was a discussion too, if you guys would like this report or a report like this sent to you monthly for your packets, I can do that so that you know what is going on, the projects and things coming up. Or I can send them to you quarterly when I send them to the supervisors. That's entirely up to how you would like to do that. MCC is also looking to purchase its own version of QuickBooks. We're trying to go through TechSoup, which is a non-profit discount site. Maintenance, which has been a big topic. I would like to say that we did start with 15 items on our maintenance list, and we are down to 5 of them. So we are working through that. It is a work in progress.
I don't think that's accurate figures based on what I just have compiled.
I have it listed off of your notes, Tom.
I have a new list.
Of course you do. Community programs.
P9, Toby, go ahead. But you're done fine.
Thank you. Community programs, the flag football and soccer signups, there were 82 kids signed up for soccer and 61 signed up for flag football. Taylor did find coaches for all of the kids' teams, which is amazing with that amount of kids. It was a huge turnout. And then the co-ed adult volleyball league should be starting mid-October. A flyer will be sent out soon.
Can you tell me again the number for the flag football? I didn't catch that.
61.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, Main Street.
I have a couple updates from last meeting. We talked about our sign and awning grant. We did award 4 businesses. Those are Making Memories, Tequila Grill, Cornerstone Investments, Clover and Bloom. 75% of their total cost to purchase or replace awnings or signage in the downtown. The total of those projects at 75% was $11,371. And we only had a total of $10,000 for our grants. Main Street did vote on Tuesday evening to pick up the remainder so that each project could be funded at the full 75%. So those should be hopefully getting started on here soon, if not in the spring, and we should have 4 new awnings in downtown. So that's exciting. I also talked about the visual merchandising that I applied for. There were 4 communities: Bloomfield, Burlington, Sheraton, and Keokuk were the 4 communities that got the $4,000 award for that. And we have 6 businesses in our downtown that will be receiving a consultation for their business. So, and Casey came with me. She's on the board. She has a couple things that she wants to talk about. So next month will be our annual meeting. So big deal. Get to celebrate our investors and tell them about what all we've been doing for the year. And they get a vote on 4 open positions on our board. We are also moving forward with appointing a student board member. So they're going to be a non-voting party on our board, but we're going to have a student from the school come join our meetings and be a part of the process and get some experience and also help us bridge that relationship with the school. So we're looking forward to that. That's all.
Good, thank you for coming. John?
Yeah.
A couple of little things, not about to do much. You take all of those and pass them on down so we can have a copy of these. The main thing I want to talk to you is about is program that's doing the state wasting time. Sometimes it's big one each other. We just never got into it like we should. It's called Home-Based Iowa. And basically, when they did the last Best of Iowa campaign, the report basically focused on 848 interviews that identified companies. We did 5 or 6 of them here in Davis County. The following issues were critical to the economic growth and moving forward. And number 1 was workplace. And they were the number most frequently asked thing. 3 out of 4, 74% of the companies said they had trouble hiring people. The companies interviewed reported 4,799 unfilled positions. 375 companies interviewed have plans to expand over the next 3 years, but 71% of them do not think they'll be able to hire the workforce if they want to do it. The score for that was a 3 out of possible high of 7. So it was below average. Second thing had to do with building and structures. But basically it comes down to the same thing it does every year, and that's land and workers. And the next year will be workers and land. And it just keeps going back and forth. It has for the 10 or 15 years I've been here. So there's a program now called Iowa Workforce Development, from Iowa Workforce Development, called Home-Based Iowa. All right. It's a one-of-a-kind statewide program designed to assist veterans transitioning back to civilian life and find needed workers for Iowa's business and industries. It was began by former Governor Terry Branstad and Major General Tim Orr, the Iowa National Guard. 83% of veterans already have skills directly transferable to civilian careers. All right. It's a non-profit public-private partnership. to recruit veterans and transporting service members back into civilian life and basically to work in Iowa. HBI is partnered with and integrated with the Iowa Works, Iowa's largest jobs bank. The model basically is serving Iowans. The vision is to create and enable to sustain a most future veteran ready workforce in the nation. And the goal is to make Iowa the state of choice for veterans and service managers that are coming back. It's basically a 4-state program. They have people at Iowa Works that are specially trained to work with service people and help them find out where they belong or where they can go. The veterans can post their resume on Iowa Works, no charge. Home-based Iowa businesses, which we're going to have some here, partners have the ability to search for those candidates within the Iowa workforce systems, including qualifications and available skills for those who identify. Home-based Iowa communities across the state of Iowa provide incentive packages to direct veterans to the community. So that's the way it works. It's a 4-state program. The first one is the resolution. If you look on the back page of my handout, the county board has already done a resolution. The second stage is considered traction and putting incentive packages together. The third is signage. And if you've driven in some places in the state, you see a little white sign. There's one going to Avenues County in Centerville. It says home-based Iowa community. Our objective would be to put them on each ends of Highway 2, east and west, and on 63 from the border up north. And we also would like to do the byway because we get a lot of people from out of state that come in on J40. All right. Once we get this put together, the state will come down and help us do that. So it's not going to be a big issue. It's just a matter of getting in there and getting it done. The fourth thing would be a dedication ceremony. Doesn't have to be a big deal either, but I still got a few people I know in the news media. We would try to get them down here. I thought maybe we'd use the gazebo and get the commissioners and a couple city council people to stand up there and say a few nice things. We kind of go down the road. So that's the plan. Now, about the incentive program, it doesn't have to be, we're not talking big money here, guys. All right. And I'm not asking for a whole lot of help, but mostly just enough help to show that we want to be in the program. Things that they mentioned that are attractive are moving expenses, property tax credits, maybe help with utilities or telephone bills. We've already talked to the Citizens Mutual. For entrepreneurs, people who want to come in and start their own business, I already have a revolving loan fund with about $75,000 in it. We can lend it at 1-2%, whatever we want to do. I've talked to you about that before. I think we've done 2 dozen of those loans already. We've had two bad ones out of the whole bunch. I should have had more sensible blend of those 2 guys, but that's it. Wait, that's what okay. And maybe even some childcare or something like this. And we're not talking long term here. We're talking startup. So the idea is that we maybe would have a 2-tier program. So maybe the city would say, just to pick an example, you know, we would have an incentive package of, I'm just picking a number, $1,000 to move here. If you buy a house and live in Bloomfield, so we give you a second $1,000. If you go in the county, that doesn't count. And the reason is, if you do it that way and they buy a house here, you're going to get back in your property taxes first year. So it's not a tremendous investment. For a business, maybe M3 would say, you know what, we want to participate in the program. We'll put up $500 or whatever the amount is. But if they decide to come to work at M3, we'll give them a sign-up bonus of $1,000. And those are the kinds of things that I'm looking at. The problem I got is I don't know how I go about getting you guys and who I should talk to here to try to help put some kind of a package from the city together if you decide you want to do it at all. So where do I start? Do I talk to
Here.
here?
Yeah.
So let me talk to my other people first and get some things put together and maybe come back with something more specific. Is that what we're talking about? All right.
Yeah. That sounds interesting.
The other news, well, I think we ought to these people. Yeah. When you and I know there's some people in that room that feel probably the same way. All right.
I've been dealing with them for about 10 months now with my business that I have. It's an outstanding organization. It's the governor, one of the governor's pet projects. So she fully endorses it. It's definitely something worthwhile.
And they told me, they said, in a community your size, you're not going to get maybe 3 to a half a dozen people. I mean, we're not talking big money here. All right. Because it's going to cost the city or anybody else a lot of money. But I am going to talk to all the major employees, which includes the school and the hospital and 4 or 5 that I know up that are out in the business area and see if and I think I'll get I don't think I'll have any trouble getting people to sign on.
I don't think so either.
The negative part of my approach, and this is not only going to take a few minutes, and you've got information there, and I'll leave something with Karen too. A lot of it's in there is repetitive, but I'll give you something to look at. Two things. One of them is that there's a survey that's been put out by the state, the Iowa DOT. And I thought this was going to be a real neat thing. I went in and looked at it the other day, and it's really pretty. You can do it in 2 seconds, and it's really not very in-depth or anything. So I'm a little disappointed in the whole process. But as a group, you ought to maybe go in and look at it and fill it out for them anyway. You can ask a question in there. And I asked a question and they gave me an answer back right away. So that was a good thing. The other thing that's kind of a mixed bag of worms that you need to be aware of is that the western half of Davis County, which has been in the New Market tax credit area for as long as I've been doing this job, is not in there anymore. Well, that's good news. And the point that according to the people that make the decisions, the economic prosperity of the county has risen to a point where we don't qualify anymore. But the negative thing is 0 and 2% loans, multi-million-dollar loans that I've got since January that I talked to you about, probably not be available to us that way now. So it's kind of a great, I'm glad it worked out, but on the other hand, and I think it's because we've got 2 or 3 employers out here that have a lot of jobs. And that's basically raised the, and they're good paying jobs. And that's raised the bar to the point that we don't get the consideration before. So it's a good thing and it's bad. Unless you got questions, that's all I've got.
Have you emailed the link to that survey to us?
They're right here.
I think I know the newspaper got it. Sent it to them. I don't know if she's gonna put it in the newspaper or not, but we can get
It'll
it.
go in.
Well,
It'll go in, yeah,
and
unfortunately.
you got until the 4th of October, so it's not a big push kind of thing. But I think for them to hear from people, different people is good. At least they know we're down here, we're listening to what they're saying. I'm pretty disgusted with the whole thing, to be blunt about it. But they don't seem to want to answer the thing. They come to us and they ask us what our problems are and what we need. But then they don't come up with a solution to answer the problems. They come up with something up here somewhere that they got from someplace. That's a pretty fair statement. Yeah.
Southeast side.
And well, it's kind of the way we live. All right. But thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Do you have the extra packet that you gave him?
That's got the,
It's an agenda.
he's got one. Just
Move to approve.
a lot more. than I got.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Jay?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. Don?
Yes.
Earl?
Yes.
Discuss and decide on pumpkin drop for 2023 pumpkin patch.
So last time we mentioned that, I think it was we didn't have a whole lot of details on it, so, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I think there's to be concerned with it. Be aware of, I should say, be concerned that they will have a crane, they will, the way it sounds, they're gonna have a 1,200-pound pumpkin, they're gonna raise it to 120 feet and drop it on a van. And so,
Drop it on the van.
drop it on a van on the square.
Who's the volunteer?
And of course, they got all the glass removed, but Ray's not gonna lie, Ray's a little bit of concern of how much collateral damage we could have from the deal, but
Where's this gonna be done?
on the northwest corner of the square. And Mr. Davis did it for me. He would have the whole side of the square coned off and keep everybody away from it. And you can see some on YouTube where they've done this in the past and been successful.
Has there been communities around here do it?
I have not seen any around. He
Sounds like
is
Democrat better be there.
he is in a group of these pumpkin growers that are, I think
Do
it's
they have
pretty sure.
insurance for this?
Pardon?
Do they have insurance for
I
this?
did not ask that question, but I can sure find out.
If no insurance, who's gonna pay for the damage should it and when it occurs?
He did say I was
Not
concerned.
us.
I was concerned with possible window damage on there, if anything flew off of there, whatever. He said they would put plywood over the windows or up against the buildings and cleaning them. He said he talked with Jeff, and Jeff said that if there was any more than what they could do, then Jeff agreed to use the fire hose to clean off the streets. That's as much as I know, so
Sounds interesting. Yeah, I mean, we try to beautify our town, town square.
I think they've kind of got the whole Saturday planned around that on the 30th.
I think there's two ways. You could look at it that way.
Yeah.
If you look at it the other way, we're trying to get events here, people to come. This would be something, I suppose. I'm probably not gonna leave my house to watch it, but I suppose there are people that, you know, as they try to build these events up, that's another way to look at it. So, yeah, so.
You better not get out of these buildings.
I think that, so,
Bunch of people that go.
Where exactly is this going to take place?
Right in front of the Hill Building, right?
No, I think it's the north end of that side. Yeah.
You know exactly where?
He talked like it would be.
further Mexican restaurant?
He said
Right.
northwest.
Well, he
corner.
said it against the,
Northwest corner.
more towards the yard of the courthouse, but yeah, on the northwest corner there on that intersection.
I think we got a lot of other events, people in town with Main Street and other.
On live stream.
I was
1,200 pounds.
They have tried to grow this event and they are successfully doing it the past couple of years. I think some of us stubbed our toes this year when we didn't realize that September had 5 Saturdays and it was scheduled for the last Saturday in September. We had been trying to get it, and I think we did for a year or two in conjunction with the Fall Festival and kind of make that a significant fall event. That's not going to happen this year. I wish Dave or someone had showed up so they could answer some of these questions. I'm on the fence about it. I know what he's trying to do, brings in people from like 5 or 6 or 7 states. It's a really neat event, actually. And maybe I say that because I'm in the Master Gardener group. We're interested in that kind of stuff.
I've been
Some
told
people
he's
hear
in
less, hear less.
an organization where they do this a lot of communities, but yeah, it's usually in conjunction with the fall
I didn't know
festival
they were
this
gonna
year.
smash a
just-
car.
I think the van is to catch the majority of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
pumpkin.
And that's what he said to me. He
The
said,
band's gonna
he said
catch
the.
Like it'll be
land in the
cut
van and-
on
and it
top
will-
and-
Majority of it will be.
Hopefully go in
the
it.
van.
Plus, it's not hitting directly on the concrete.
I
think you
So,
probably
I
should.
guess my concern, you better hit that critter. You better be dead on.
Be some insurance.
It sounds like
Something that.
It does sound fun. I really do.
And they do,
Go.
yeah, and they do take all the guts out of the pumpkin before they drop it.
They do?
They do? Well, what's the?
How can it weigh 1,200 pounds if they take all the guts out of it?
Yeah.
Then it's misadvertising. For what? It can't weigh 1,200 pounds if you take everything out of it.
Oh, that's what it starts at.
They're selling the seeds at $100 a piece.
So
Why do that then?
unfortunately, this is the only meeting before this event, so the council really needs to make
Yep.
a decision. I mean, you could make a motion as long as they had insurance or something that it would fight, or you could we could just sit here and be silent for a few minutes and I'll move on to the next one. So-
I mean, technically, we already approved that.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did?
But when more
Yeah,
was
we did.
disclosed.
So we
they thought
approved
they
that
should-
event, so this could really, they could really
Just
just
letting you
say,
know.
okay.
You guys.
We didn't approve the drop.
Good deal.
So is there
It's
any,
got a
is there
yes
any,
vote for me.
is there anything to do here, or was this just informational?
Well, we didn't know for sure. I got a lot more information than what we had the last time. We couldn't get any information.
Okay.
We
I would
said,
make sure that there's at least insurance
Okay.
associated with this.
I bet they have some sort of blanket policy on the
I
event.
would sure.
I love the competition for this, the pumpkin and everything, because I don't know why they drop a pumpkin like that.
Okay.
All right, we'll just move on then. Approve 6-month employee recreation passes to the Mutual Center.
So in the prior years, we have approved the employee gets a free 6-month pass and an additional 20 if your spouse wants to get a pass. We would like to ask for the same thing except for 20 off of an additional pass. So like if I wanted an actual family pass, I could get the family pass and just get $20 off instead of just me and my spouse, which is the same price as me and my spouse. So
So the employee gets it for free.
Yep.
And if the spouse wants to go, it's $20 off.
right,
The,
any other additional bigger rec pass.
Um,
So we would like to offer that to the employees and mayor and council.
It's not transferable. I can't transfer mine to somebody else.
But I would probably the family pass and two adults is the same price unless you're a senior citizen over the age of 62.
I think it's a good deal for the boys.
Move to approve.
Siren.
Nice. Josh,
Yes.
Dave,
Boy,
Yes.
Jennifer. Yes. Earl.
Yes.
Don.
Yes.
Boys. You did. He did.
Approve fiscal year 24 annual payment to the Mutual Center in the amount of $40,000.
Each of you have received 3 pieces of information from me. The first was financial. The second is an email which I sent to Taylor this afternoon. And the third is a weekly, nightly cleaning schedule of things that are supposed to be done in the Munster Center. I do agree there's some positive things going on down there, but those positive things are things that should be done without prodding from anyone. That's part of the job of a director, is to do the things that actually alluded are being done. I'm concerned with the general overall maintenance and cleanliness of the facility. And although we sometimes deliver that message in a little bit of a harsh manner, it's because we are disturbed that routine maintenance and repairs are not being done in a timely manner. I've got a list, as I mentioned there a minute ago, 15 things. Actually, I've got more than that, but I'm just going to use my current list and give you 4 examples of things that are really frustrating in working with that situation. In the boys' restroom upstairs, there was a hole in the north wall. It happened 2 years ago at prom. It was just replaced or repaired within the last, I'm going to say, 10 days. There was a large hole in the north gym wall, which is, I believe, just sheetrock. Put in there, I think, in February or March with the basketball. It was also just recently repaired in the next few days. Now, I don't think either one of these 2 things would have been done if I wasn't down there shaking the tree a little bit. You can disagree with that, but if you disagree with it, on what basis are you disagreeing with it? How long do repairs go unaddressed in that facility? Unclean upstairs girls' restrooms. I never go in the girls' restrooms. I'm a member of the new church that's meeting upstairs. About 3 weeks ago, I went in the girls' restroom, and I got to tell you, it was dirtier than the boys, and the boys, it's filthy, especially the one downstairs. A lady from the church, I just talked with her on the phone this afternoon, described it as being unbelievably horrible, and she found a container of cleaning fluid up there and went in and cleaned that bathroom herself while she was there attending church. Missing ceiling tiles in the girls' restroom. I don't know how long it was missing. And there was a broken one in what we call the red room upstairs. I personally went to Menards, bought 3 new tile, gave them to the folks down there, and they replaced 2 of them. I don't know what they did with the 3rd one. But these are routine maintenance items that the public should never see. Members of that commission that go in there for meetings or just to look around and see what's going on or to attend events should never see things that needs to be repaired. And I have numerous pictures on my phone of these items plus other items. Now, I find that upsetting. We should not be spending our time addressing routine maintenance issues that are under the control of the staff down there. That's my position. Now, I want to incentivize the folks down there to get their act together. And one of the ways that I thought we might be able to do it is to just release half of the 40,000 that we traditionally give them and keep the other half for a period of time until such items that are on this list are addressed and taken care of. If you've got a doorknob on the front of your house just about to fall off, how long are you going to put up with that, Jake? You're going to get a screwdriver and fix it. Not a big deal. Many of these items are not difficult. I turned in to solve. I turned in the names of 4 repair people that work locally in Bloomfield that would be happy to be hired to go down there and do these kinds of repairs. There's actually 6 individuals, but I've only talked to 4 of them. So there's people there that'll do it if our staff that we pay every day cannot or will not do it. The 3rd sheet that you have is a list, as I mentioned, is a list of weekly, nightly cleaning items. And I can guarantee you that many of those items are not getting done, flat out. They're not getting done. The women's restrooms are a little easier to keep clean because their stools are on a pedestal and they have no foot that attaches them to the floor. The boys' stools are the older style, most of them, that come down with a pedestal or a foot that goes out, and that's where the crud accumulates. Because if they're standing up, they don't always hit where they aim. And it is really bad, was downstairs as of a couple of days ago. And I have pictures to show that too. So these routine things really get under my skin, and the public does not see the good things that we do. And Ashley's right about a lot of those things. They don't see those things. They see the things that should not be happening. The things that should be happening, they don't pay much attention because they should be happening. The things that are getting the attention are the problem areas. We go back to the boys' restroom. This is the last comment I'll make on this. We have a problem with one individual. We believe it's one individual down there. Haven't determined for sure who it is. That was peeling the paint off of the boys' restroom wall. 2 meetings ago, Ashley suggested, and I agreed 100%, the sooner we get that repainted, the less likely it is to recur again in the future. Because vandalism unaddressed gets worse, I guarantee it. That did not happen, or it was painted. 3 days later, torn off. We suggested it be repainted again immediately. That did not happen for about a month and a half. And a second wall now is being peeled off, probably by that same individual. Now, how long are we going to go before those 2 spots are repainted? It is a problem that has to be solvable. I don't think it's my job or Ashley's job or Brian's job to solve it. We have a staff down there that it's their job to solve it. They get paid to address issues like that. And to incentivize them to get on the ball and do it far better. You've seen what my suggestion is in writing. Give them half the money now and half at some point in the future when we determine that those kind of issues are getting addressed properly. And the public doesn't have to come to me and say, I'm not going in that women's restroom. Have you seen it? No, I've not seen it. Go in and look at it. I finally did. I swear to God, it was worse than the boys' bathrooms. And sometimes they're pigs. When they're teenagers.
So this would have been great for you to bring to the commission,
I
right,
brought it to Taylor.
today, but the
Oh.
commission,
Brought what
like,
to the
we are
commission?
not a team of 1, Don. There's a team of 3 of us. Like, this
Okay.
needed to come to the commission
Brought
for a
what
discussion
specifically to the commission.
that you wanted to change. The last meeting we said you were asking for the full 40,
Yes,
right?
well, yes, until
You
that,
just sent it to her today
yes, I did.
and you
Because I
didn't even
just-
tell us about it. You didn't tell Brian or I
I
about
didn't
it.
decide until this morning I was gonna take this approach. I've been on vacation for 5 days, trying to figure out how to get the dust to settle
That's
from that
fine, I
last
think
meeting.
that's
we
fine.
had.
gotta interrupt
That's fine.
here. The line items to approve the amount.
Yeah.
I will remind you, Ashley, Don, and I believe Abby's husband's on the board.
Yes,
You guys are the CEO of the company.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if there's things going wrong, I said it last week or the last meeting. You guys are the bosses. So I guess I will ask you guys, if you don't want to be the bosses, I'll find some people that want to be the bosses. You got a lot of work to do down there and it looks like we've got some tension.
we have.
We've got some things going on, but you gotta figure out a way to handle that.
100%
You guys are the
agree.
chiefs.
100%.
There's some Indians down there. Figure out how to control it. So the thing on the agenda is the amount of 40,000. Council, you can approve the 40,000, you can approve 1,000. I don't care what you approve. You just gotta do something here tonight. So then you guys can work out at your meeting. So. Is that your motion, Don?
I'm not making the motion and I'm not going
No,
to.
you're on the board.
I have put down in writing what I am asking this council to do.
Okay.
I move we approve the 20,000 that Don's talking about, and then in 3 months, we want to report whether things have been done or not, and then we'll see about turning the other 20,000 loose. That's my motion.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Josh?
No.
Jake?
Yes.
John?
Abstain.
Earl?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on, discuss and decide on estimates for installation of mini split air controller for T1 and T2 substation housing.
That is our control rooms in our substation out here for each of our big transformers. And each one of them houses 4 circuits to the town, so they're both on backup power now and have been for quite some time. So they've been needing to get this repaired. Actually had a hard time getting anybody to give us a bid. So we finally got some bids there. One is that they're just the only difference in price, I believe, just basically says it's one's a Mitsubishi, one's a Comfort Air. It does say one goes down, the Comfort Air actually says it will go to 22 below. A lot of that mini splits, that's their catch on them. When it gets cold, they quit. You better have a backup heat source. So I'm not, it doesn't matter to me. I would probably recommend just going with a cheaper outfit. I don't know much about mini splits, Josh. I know you have a lot of properties. If you had yay or nay, if you have anything to say, comments on product, I'm sure to encourage you or any of you that know the mini splits. I don't. So in this instance, it looks like the Comfort Air is the better deal. I don't know either. But we do. This then like 10,000 is for one for each building. That's for 2 of them. Each bid is for 2 of them.
But is this the only company that
Yeah,
gave you a bid?
we
No
called,
other local heating and cooling
we
companies?
called
gave you a bid?
multiple times. And they're not getting bids on it.
You reach out to someone at all?
To someone, I did not. I had David Hall.
So it's 10,000 for both of them or 10,000 apiece?
No, 10,000 for 2, 5,000 a piece.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
That's what I have found out, for
And you said one of them will go down to 20 below?
yeah, the Comfort Air, it will actually go down to work at 22 below, and the other one actually says it only goes to 13 below, at the higher price.
$6,000.
So the cheaper one goes for the golden price.
Yeah, 22 degrees below.
Yeah.
It'll heat down to that.
So I don't know if that's a little bit because of the
There's no
brand.
warranty.
Mitsubishi is definitely a well-known brand, but I don't
I've
know.
heard of Comfort Air.
I mean, I don't know either one of them. I've not, never put them in.
That's a good price.
Motion for,
So I would recommend taking it cheaper to do the Comfort Air.
I'll make a motion to go with the Comfort Air option.
Second.
Jake?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Earl?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes.
Approve the purchase of salt spreader for the street department in the amount of $10,509.
That's budget correct. We did. It's not. We talked.
Is this budgeted or not?
There's money in the budget? No, it's not.
budgeted.
Is it needed?
The old one's
The
shot.
2 old ones, they are old. They're both stainless steel, and we usually spend 2 days using them and a day fixing them. And 2 days using them, a day fixing them. It just, they are on their last leg. These, they're looking at a new one. It's a poly sander, all hydraulics, no gas motor to mess with, and all stainless steel gearing. So
So we'll retire one of the 2.
we will retire one of our old ones, keep it back up on hand, and put the new one in use. Is our plan.
So you do have money for this?
Gone after he buys it. He already knows. Don't ask for anything.
Motion to approve the purchase of a salt spreader for $10,509.
Second.
You got that, yeah. Okay, Earl?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes. Josh?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Approve pay estimate number 3 to Leffler Dirt Works in the amount of $66,054.73 for the Howard Walnut Street project. Hey, Doug.
Just gotta put your, I seen that. They might actually did it yesterday. They had us on the sheet, so I think they are.
Okay, good times. That's great.
Move to approve.
Second.
Earl,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Jennifer. Yes. Don.
Yes.
Approve resolution to apply for the Federal Recreation Trails Grant in the amount of $804,000. Mr. Fedjo, are you?
Yeah, I
Speak on it.
So for the Davis County Trail Council, we're looking at our trails project. So unfortunately, we applied for the state rec trail grant. We've been here before for, unluckily, or unfortunately, we were not awarded that. So now we're looking to transfer into looking at, the federal rec trail funds. And that application is due October 1st. And so we're looking for support from you guys then to go after and apply for that money. There are a few things that will be different with federal rec trail grants versus state rec trail grants. And Ashley from Pathfinders is here. She'll be writing that application again for us. And then, Stephen over in the corner here is from French Renters. He can explain some of the differences there too with going after federal rec trail money. The paperwork's different, the funding's a little different, but we're just looking for your guys' approval to go after that money for that. It's an $804,000 project. We have $220,000. So we'll be looking for the rest of that funds from that award. And I can answer any questions otherwise you guys have too.
I just have a couple things.
Yeah, Tom,
Yeah.
exactly. I know you've talked.
So budget wise, first question is, when is it awarded? Do we know?
When they decided.
Yeah, like when did they decide who gets it?
Oh,
You know off the top of your head?
I don't know off the top of my head. I bet it'll be by the end of the calendar year, I would
Okay.
guess.
I was gonna say December. I think that's what I saw.
They're usually set up on the federal fiscal year, so it makes sense that it's due here, on September, because their federal fiscal year is September to September.
Right.
So,
Okay, that was my first question. My second question was just for council. Not really a question, just a statement that when we do the budget, obviously this is not in the budget this year. But when we do the budget, we have about $1 million to spare each year of just, unaccounted for funds that we can use for projects, miscellaneous grants, et cetera. I'm not saying not to do it, but I just want you to know that we have $1 million. So if we do commit to, we'll have to commit to the full 804 because we'll have to pay for the full, grant and then get reimbursed back. But well, like he said, he had 200 and some change, 220 to come back for their matching piece. But I just want you to be aware and transparent that that 800 comes out of that spare $1 million. So I don't know what you guys have planned in the next year, but that leaves only about 200,000 or so for whether it be another sidewalk side of the square or
On that though, that
A
220
tree.
could come out of us first,
yeah.
which would leave
Yeah,
us
you could do
600
that.
and on you guys
and
to
it's
get
not gonna,
reimbursed.
it won't, sorry to jump in there, but it's not gonna be a lump sum. It's not like you're gonna have to front the full 600 and then, get reimbursed the full 600. It'll come in every month with pay estimates, so you could, typically the way cities do it is they'll pay 3 or 4 months worth of pay estimates and then they'll ask for reimbursement for those 3 or 4 months from DOT at a time. You can do every single bill if you want to. It's just a little bit of a process to get the money from DOT. So typically people will package those together and do it in groups there, but.
Yeah.
Would help the cash flow situation.
Yeah.
That we're concerned about.
It does, but the city's budget doesn't work like your personal checkbook. So, you don't get reimbursed and then get to use that money again. Like I need to put the full amount in the budget as an expense, and then I will go in on the revenue side and add the revenue coming back in. So it is essentially a wash, but it's still, the city usually looks at our $14 million budget, knowing it takes 13 million to run it in a year. We have about $1 million cushion. So, I don't know what you guys have planned in the next year or so, or if it's gonna overlap our fiscal year, like the facade one just did and the playground and stuff. But I'm gonna need some assistance on,
Oh, so I have two
Things.
things to ask, and one is to Rich. It's my understanding in this package, there's a spot in there where we must maintain it, the city, for 20 years. And 95% of it is out of the city. Is that a correct statement?
So, yeah, yep.
Okay, that's my first statement before you. My other statement is not to steal her thunder, because she's not here tonight. That Tammy in a couple of weeks will be giving a status on the sidewalks. And in that status, she's probably going to lean towards what do we want to do with the north side of the square? And I'm going to be 100% honest. I am fully in support of ripping the Band-Aid off and doing both sides of the square at one time, which means we will not be able to apply for another grant if you do that. We can still win the grant on the west side, which I think we will, but we would forego getting the grant on the north side because you wouldn't apply for it. But in my opinion, if you drag this out long enough, and I'm a business owner and I've had my sidewalk done twice now up there on my side, I think it's going to be very important for the other three sides, which have way more businesses on it than my side, is to get this done and relieve them the tension. So I'm actually going to ask you guys to approve her to go out and start working on the engineering. That's why she's going to ask, because the other engineering on the west side is 95% done. In her opinion, if we agree to start the engineering on the north side, it can be done so we can go out to bid like February, March of next year for both sides. So remember that that's going to be $400,000 or $500,000, and as well. So I don't like that city has to maintain something that isn't in the city, but I know that isn't you, Rich. I know that you didn't put that clause in there yourself.
Well, I mean, some of that is you have to apply for it. So whoever's apply for it.
Yeah.
Had to maintain it out. Pretty much they don't want to put in trails and then say you're going to destroy them after they give you that money.
Yeah.
So that's why they say 20 years, they want them to last and stay there.
Yeah.
Are you going to do anything in those 20 years? Probably not. The concrete's going to last 20 years. And that's why they put that in there. But, the other thing.
But we also have gotten in the last year or so, we've also kind of got in a semi-tense battle on who maintains snow and ice. And it sounds like
And I think
in this, if we magically won this grant and we build this stretch, 95% of it, the city would have to maintain getting snow off, and it's not even in the city, which I'm not sure. And I'm not saying that the county wouldn't work with us on that, but they
Well,
were.
I'd say that's debatable too, to me, whether we leave the snow or take it off.
Okay.
But, I think the school and some of that, which is mainly where it is, they'd be fine, and probably if you talk to the school and doing that for the city.
Yeah,
But
it's only been conversations, but the school has basically told us they're gonna maintain.
they're gonna maintain it out
So
there.
I really,
So,
ultimately, yes, it does come back to the city, but if on schools,
the city.
yeah.
There you go. That's the important
And
right there.
and then, yeah, that's right. And you're right. It's on paper, but if we want, that's something we can look at later. If the schools.
And
willing to say,
my
"Hey, we'll
last-
take care of it."
My last comment, and I'm sure you do not know this, maybe Ashley will know this. If you didn't win the state one, why would the federal give you one that you didn't? I mean, it's like, to me,
It just
and
depends
maybe
on the
this isn't
pool.
how grants work, I don't know, but if I didn't get the state one and I go above the state, why would somebody up there go, why would we give this to them? They didn't even qualify for the state one.
It's different rankings for
Yeah.
different sorts of
Okay.
things.
So there's different pools of
Yeah.
people that are applying for them, and there's different money amounts.
Okay.
So that's gonna make, maybe you get one and you don't get another.
Okay.
Those kind of things happen.
Different review committees. It's just a totally different.
And I'd like to add
And
to,
Chris, the engineering on the north side, I don't understand why we can't use the engineering we already have.
Yeah.
It was done
that's a possibility.
and it was approved. It was just vetoed.
they are using that, and they did that with the west, but they still have to make sure it's still accurate. But they are using, we sent everything.
What changed?
Well, I don't know. A lot's changed in 4 years I've been here.
Over time, they'll make-
Yeah, they put paint on her building.
So I guess,
Most
I
of
guess
it
the
is
short
done.
answer, council, is whatever you decide, I really want the west and the north to be done at
Yeah.
the same time. Rip the Band-Aid off. We go through a 2 to 4 month time frame where we're disturbed, and then after that, we're back. Not, we disturb, and then, oh, by the way, 6 months later, you get past winter, you go, now we're gonna disturb the city again. So I guess I'm going to ask you, no matter what you decide, still gonna ask you to find the money to get both those sides done next year. So then we're all done with those.
My concern, like Tommy Joe was saying, is this is 600,000, 800,000, whatever it is. Our cushion's $1 million. However, if we agree to this grant, that money's now allocated.
Yeah.
We can't, even if we pay it 2 or 3 months at a time, it's still the full amount allocated. We can't use it for anything else.
Correct.
And that's my concern.
And just earlier tonight, we did talk about Rebecca and Neville, and that will be 150,000. That also has to come out of that money, I believe.
Right.
I don't want mine.
Out of that million.
You're doing that before June, aren't you? Yeah, yeah, clean my problem every day, Rusty.
I hear you.
The problem that I have is I still tell everybody there's only so much money and everybody continues to
I
ask
hope
for
it's down
more
here
stuff.
before winter.
Printing more every day.
I know. I haven't gotten a dime though.
Rich, I'm big on the trails. I'm a big supporter, but I'm the type of person, I would like to see a project done and then like a stepping stone, like get one done and then focus on the other one type deal. So,
What do you mean? I don't-
well, like
Starting-
sidewalks on the square.
Starting forward
Yeah.
on projects. None of them
Let's
finished.
finish something.
Our problem,
Okay, so let's have a brand new sidewalk and a brand new sidewalk and then 2 eyesores. Just get it done.
Yeah.
And then button it up and then move on the following year, move on and finish that.
But you can apply again for statement, right?
This is the second year we've applied for.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we have some of the money we have right now, we're under like
Yeah,
a
we've-
timeline.
And we've had the
So
Walmart
100,000 of what we have right now
3 years
from
now.
Walmart, we need to spend.
So they need to
And we're
move
kind of-
forward.
We're trying to get the rest of it so we can spend it, is what we're trying to do. And otherwise, if we have to give that back or if we have to use it, then we don't have it to try to get other money like we're trying to do now. So we've got some money, we're trying to get more money with that money we have under a timeline.
we have some matching fund situations.
Yeah.
Leverage.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with you.
Well, you could technically get them both done if you guys do not approve anything else for a whole.
That would be extremely
So,
hard.
So
what are we
you're saying
talking
that
about
money would be
schedule wise,
tied up,
Joe?
the grant money,
Our-
it would be tied up the entire district.
No, it depends on how much they're gonna get done for,
Well, I just want to talk
Tomorrow.
about schedule first. I don't want to, jump in, but, like, let's say we get awarded at the end of the year, okay? DOT, it's a minimum of a 6-month process to get from, okay, we started design to having a bid opening. And then it's
We're
another
in the next
6 months or
fiscal year.
more. So we're past the end of this fiscal year before construction starts, I would say.
right. I didn't
Okay.
assume anything would be
Okay.
before July 1st.
Okay.
I don't know how much would be constructed from July 1 of 24 to July 1 of 25.
Probably, I
And
would
what
say.
that dollar
yeah,
amount is,
Yeah.
but,
Okay.
typically the way we do our budget is just in case it's all done, or depending on when the deadline is. It's better to have it all in there and not use it, and then just carry over what's not.
I just wanted to make sure you weren't thinking we were gonna have this
I was
on
hoping
this
you-
fiscal year.
No, I
That's
was
not gonna
hoping you
happen,
weren't doing
so.
anything before July 1st, but, and like I said, I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying that there is a limited window, just because we do have other obligations as far as like, we have 2 big street projects we did that we're just still paying for and stuff. So that's why there's only $1 million at this point of cushion. As we start to get stuff paid off, obviously that $1 million will increase, but we still want to try to stay at, 14 million
Those
overall.
street projects are before July 1st this year though, right?
Yeah, but
Like
I'm sorry, I meant our loans, our bonds that we pay on for the 2 big streets, the $2.5 million that we did each. like I said, it is tough. I'd like it all done right now. And this final street project, we need to still do.
Is that the amount you applied for the state one too, 804,000? So it's the same, it's just a different, we're just going to a different grant program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you hate to see the other grants that were awarded have to go back of that 220. If we don't.
Chris, you're talking about the WQI with Tammy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any possibility that if the council does not support this, that we can use the money that we have and do something on the trails?
We'd have to pivot and look and see what else we can do.
But 200,000 won't buy very much trail.
Yeah.
These prices.
You know, we spent, 899,000 on what we've done on the trail so far. I'm the treasurer of the Trails Council, so I'm not going to vote on this issue. I think it'd be somewhat unethical for me to do that. Trails normally cost, Steve, what, $1 million? The quality that we're putting in it, $1 million.
I figure, well, yeah, I figure $100 a foot, so that's $500,000 a mile then, I suppose. Yeah. Maybe that is, no, that's $500,000 a mile. You figure $100 a foot is what I figure.
Okay. Maybe it's highways that are $1 million a mile, I don't know. But yeah, so if we don't approve that, and the council doesn't approve that, then we're gonna have to look at what can we do with the money we have that will add to the trail, and then of course that money won't be there to use as leverage to get matching grants in the future.
Yeah, we'll just have
So
to,
it's a dilemma.
Cause you really want the 220 as your matching funds portion, so that. the
Yeah, we
city
can leverage that
doesn't
into
have
a
to
good
put that
amount of
up.
money if we can keep it together.
So we should know about the federal grant by the time we would have to be submitting. So our pre-applications for WQI are due November 17th. We should be invited for a full application by December 15th, and full applications are due February 9th.
And that's just for the west side, right?
I
For
think,
the one that we're just applying for.
Yeah.
He's talking about paying out of pocket for the north and not even getting a grant, just do them, get them over with.
okay. I was just saying, we should know by the federal, before we have to apply for the WQI.
So either way, this piece of the trails will go in next year's. And the sidewalks are gonna go in this year. But you'll still have to keep in mind when we go to budget in a month to 3 months that this is reserved.
If we had the money
In
to
case they
do
get
the,
it.
the left side and the north side, when could we expect it to be completed?
No
In the
idea.
Next year. In the next
Steve, you
year.
got an opinion on
And,
that?
yeah, end of next year is when it's expires,
If we had the money to do the west and north side, when could we expect it to be completed?
December 24.
15 months from now.
As long as the papers are ordered and here, the poles are already here.
Get that goes out to bid
Once
March, April versus
we
September.
get the west
October.
side, if we don't get the west side WQI, then you have to come back to the drawing table and say, do you want to pay the full 600,000 and
That's a
just
big
not
mountain
work out?
decline. That's.
You know, we want it for one side, so I feel confident you would win it. As long as you're showing progress on the other side, I would think.
You're not applying for both sides for the WQI, you're only doing the one side?
Just west, I think,
What-
right?
what
Well, I
we
didn't
approved.
think you could apply. You only have one grant.
You can apply for both sides.
And
though, on that
it
one.
might be whatever Tammy, yeah.
Okay.
Initially, the plan was just to complete the south side.
Mhm.
Next year, do the west side, and the year after, just so we can apply.
Yep.
But I don't really like that plan because it causes a lot of stress in town.
So she's coming back next meeting to ask.
I think she's coming back next week, basically to ask the council if that's really what you need. If you really want to do that, I really need to get the engineers on the north side
Okay,
so we can go up to bid in a timely manner after the first year.
okay. Trying to get on the same page.
So you heard Tommy tell, not so we're here on it. You heard her say
We could do
we could do them both, but she followed up with that comment, because my ears heard it.
if you're willing to sit on your hands and your mouth and not approve anything for a while. So she said it, you can do both. Just remember when the next nice shiny coin comes out in March, you have to remember, we're pretty tapped out for right now. I mean, we'll know. I mean, the 804 could disappear if they don't get the grant. So,
Yeah, if they don't give me a
I
grant.
mean,
And you still have it
you're
for
back,
some.
we want to be optimistic they're gonna get the grant. So,
So instead of paying a lot of pocket like what she was saying, you're.
I say no all the time, but some people don't listen. I do.
all right, anybody want to talk?
They're not listening.
So Tommy Joe, what,
Yeah.
like what she was saying, if we apply for the grant for both sides, then that's not full out of pocket on that north side.
So yes and no. You still have to budget the full thing, pay for it and get paid back. But it doesn't work like a checkbook. So when we get it back, we can't then use it for, trails. It just
You would
comes in
set
as revenue to
804,000
reimburse us.
to the side.
Yeah.
And you can't really reclaim all that 804 till the very last penny is brought in.
But it doesn't go back in your budget as an expense to use again as revenue. They're two separate budgets. It does not work like your checkbook at home where you
Yeah.
you write $100 check and you get paid back and now you can spend it again. Doesn't work that way.
Does it matter if Trails were to give you the 220 to hold for?
No, as long as, if our out of pocket's the 600, let's say, and you guys are gonna do the 220, then you can use your 220 first or last, either way, we would budget 600 instead of 8. And once our 600's gone, as long as it's okay in the application to pay out that way. Otherwise, they'll have to give it to us, but I'm assuming the application, I don't know, federal's kind of, it's a different breed.
Yep.
I don't know if we have to say where the local match is coming from. You can just say it's assured and just.
Yeah.
That's all we have to
Right,
say is that
right.
it's assured, yeah.
I would just need to know on my budget number to stick 800 in that line or 600 in that line.
Which I would say it would be the 600 to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what I was,
It's gonna be a wash in the end. I just need to know. Like I said, it's, the government budgeting is way different because a lot of times you think, oh, I'm getting paid back, and we do get paid back, and it does go in the revenue side to pay us back as far as put back in our bank account. But you still have to increase your overall budget expense number from like 14 million to 15 million.
So if you budget it and you don't get the grant, does that still have to stay in the budget or can
Yeah.
you take it out?
When I do my amendment at the end of the year, as long as council hasn't approved anything that they didn't have budgeted, then I can amend it down. You don't have to legally disclose to the citizens. If you want to amend it down, you just have to say, if I disclose that we're gonna spend 14 million and we spend over 14, I have to do an amendment to disclose that we spent more than we said we would.
Okay.
If you spend less, then you don't have to disclose it.
And so that money that you're setting aside for that is
I
that
think
fully
we-
allocated until it's paid back or the entire budget?
I believe it.
So
Going back.
there would be a separate line and a separate fund for the state trails grant or federal trails grant. I would create a whole new fund. We would transfer 800 or 600,000, I guess, into there, and it would sit there. And then as we pay the bills, it comes out of that fund, and then it would go in back in the checking account within that fund, so that at the end of the audit season in the fiscal year, the fund would be zero.
So it can't be put back in the budget until the end of that audit.
As far as the revenue, the reimbursement?
Yeah.
The reimbursement will go in as we do the reimbursements. I do
I
not,
meant as far as using that money for the budget, again. It's gonna get paid back.
right. So you're not gonna be able to, so one of two things has to happen. We put the money in there and let's say they don't get the grant, but we went ahead and budgeted for it. If we want to use it for a different purpose, I have to move it to a different fund. If they get the grant, we pay the bills and we get paid back, and then that number's just zero. We said we were gonna use 600, we used 600, we got paid back, now it's zero.
I guess, maybe I'm not asking
I
right.
think you're thinking of the cash itself and not the budget expense.
Yeah.
It's two different things.
When is that amount available back in the budget to be able to use for the project?
July the following year.
Okay.
Sorry, July
did-
1st of every.
Did you already have the SRT money budgeted?
No. I shouldn't say no. Yes, we had extra funds set aside in case it went through,
Yeah.
but if we do the sidewalks, we'll move it to the sidewalks. And if we don't end up getting, or if we did the sidewalks a different way and got the WQI, then it would go to pave the square. So yes, it's there, but now that it didn't happen.
Yeah, just move that over.
Well, if you were gonna have it all done before July 1st of next year. So, just because that money then expires June 30th of 24, but we won't be ready for the federal piece.
Really, I just need to find money somewhere.
Move we approve the resolution to apply for the Federal Recreation Trails Grant in the amount of $804,000.
Second.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Don?
Abstain.
Josh?
I'm sorry, it's cutting the budget too thin. No,
Earl?
Yes.
Jake?
no.
Okay. Approve closing Franklin Street from Madison to Highway 63 for trick or treat night, October 31st, 2023.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was okay to close the entire south side down since there's gonna have construction. We're not gonna be able to use the sidewalk. We're gonna have to move the people out to walk down the street. If we shut the whole thing down.
That was gonna be my question. We've got construction going on. Do we really want people?
Yeah, I think our plan was to route them out and around. So they're gonna be, so the eastbound lane is closed. So we're probably gonna have them walking.
Yeah, so that day we asked Leffler's to just take up the parking against the curb so you'd have the majority of the street. But yeah, and there's a good chance that 7.5 foot of the sidewalk will still be there. But yeah, if you don't want to try to go both sides of the construction, I understand. That'd be the better way. Just keep it.
And we'll probably have.
We're gonna have
it here, but
We're gonna have.
in order to close the street, I think we have to have your approval. So I just wanted to make sure we got ducks in a row, close the whole thing off, and then we'll be good to go. We'll have officers, we'll have all 5 of us up there making sure. We'll have one down on the southwest corner there to make sure everybody's going in the right direction. So.
Move to approve.
Josh?
Yes.
Earl?
Yep.
Don?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Jennifer? Yes.
Public comments tonight? No public comments, we'll move on. Tommy Joe?
I just have 2 things tonight. First thing, the Boone family would like to do a memorial bench in honor of Janet and put it in our new city park. So, if there's any objections to that, I kind of need to know so I can let them know, but, that's what they would like to do with the memorial money for her funeral.
And then work with Rusty on a placement spot.
Just to correct you, I think it's the same old city park. It's not a new park.
Well, it's new. It has new.
Has new playground.
It's new to us.
We're getting a new park? All right, I'm for that.
And new shelter.
I don't think anybody's against putting a memorial bench.
Yeah, it's not gonna, we won't let it look
It's not
bad.
like at the fairgrounds
Yeah.
where they got the big picture of it, like a base up.
We have not seen what it's gonna look like yet, but they assured me that they would work with us on making it look nice. And then I just have another thing, the 2080 dispatch. So we have a 2080 with the county for dispatch services. And, I read in the meeting minutes of the supervisors meeting that they had went and discussed with them, possibly looking at the 2080 and either changing it or maybe dissolving it. But since then I've talked to Josh Sinnott and Caitlin Sedor and Dave Henderson just to be sure that, both parties knew how important it was to work together. So a couple things that we are working with them on is right now, if someone has a call about a gas smell, down power line, anything, it goes to this phone out at the dispatch, and they are asking that during working hours, our staff up front would take those calls and get in touch with our departments, whoever's call it is, and then after hours, it would then go back to dispatch. So we are currently working, Rusty and I, on that, and when we have an alarm that goes off, sometimes at like a lift station for the sewer department, it's just an automation that calls in and tells them that an alarm's going off, and then the dispatch has to call sewer department and they come in and check it out. So we're gonna look to see if we can go on the Omni site and change that to just go to our sewer lead. And then if Trent's the one on call or somebody else, he would call somebody in. We're looking to see about us taking our own calls from 7 to 3 and then moving everything out there after the guys leave at 3 o'clock. So.
Isn't that going to be confusing to the public though?
Well, we used to do it. I'm not sure when we stopped personally doing it. I think I'm assuming that Public Safety Committee will decide how this is gonna be finalized. It's my understanding there's some separate phone, and now they want it to just come into the regular dispatch phone, which when you call our number and you say, if you have an emergency, press 1. Sometimes people think it's an emergency and it probably isn't, or it probably is more of an emergency and they aren't thinking that it is. So, I assume we would still pay 40% and county 60%, but we would take some of those duties back from the sounds of how they want that. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention that, that's being asked of us. And then, obviously it'll have to go back in front of you guys at the Public Safety Committee if they're wanting to change anything. So be on the lookout. Just wanted to bring that to your attention that there is discussion between
Pretty
us.
easy for us to get outvoted at public safety.
Yeah, so just letting you know, giving you a heads up. The only thing we would have to do on our side is the staff up front would have to do the gas training in addition to the dispatch that they do with our gas department. Because if somebody calls in with a gas smell, there's certain protocol that we follow and whatnot. So we would have that. If we're still paying the same amount of money for those dispatch services, then there really isn't any change other than we have a $40 phone that we're paying for that we wouldn't need anymore. But like I said, I don't know when it changed. I know we used to do it and then it went out to the county, and now they're looking for us to take that back during our hours. That's all I know so far about that.
All righty, thank you.
Yep.
Rusty? Just a couple of quick things. Over at the intersection of South Dodge and South Street, where Fowler's goes, that's his entrance to his lot, his new building over there. We have no stop sign at that four-way, what is kind of considered now a four-way intersection with his driveway that's used a lot. So I'd like to have permission to move forward with that, putting that, I think you gotta change an ordinance or put a resolution to add a stop sign to an intersection.
Where is that?
I'd like to put it on Dodge, leave South Street open, and put it on South Dodge, facing there as you're running south. And then there's also another one with an ordinance that would be an ordinance involved would be no parking on the street we want to redo over on Rebecca, on the Horseshoe Street as Rebecca Neville runs into it. When we get that all repaved, it's not quite wide enough if you let people park on both sides to run between cars, so we need to pick one side or the other, put no parking signs on it, and that also has to be, I believe, you told me.
Ordinance change.
Ordinance change to do that. And, so, I guess if you guys are okay with me pursuing that, if you have any, objections to it.
Start the process.
And, so I was approached by an individual, and they are looking at, they would like to put in some housing over where the old boundary was. Housing is, so they would have to go to a P&Z meeting and get that rezoned. That's an industrial zone over there. And that would be rezoned as an R3 residential. So something to think about that's gonna be coming forward. If we want to allow that, it's totally up to you guys if we, we
They
allow
own
that.
the land now.
They do own the land. They do own the land. It's actually two different owners over there on that property. There is a warehouse going up on the corner now.
I wondered what was going on. You
Yeah.
could definitely tell they
Yeah.
got that up.
Yep, that's good. That's already is in work. But yeah, these people are looking at putting in four duplexes in the future and are wanting to develop it. So, and be thinking about that, that'll be coming down the pipe if you want to allow that over there in the Petro Park. That's all I have.
Okay.
Can you take a look at, the corner of Pine and Jefferson?
Yes, sir.
There's a stop sign there and it's becoming really dangerous because the house right there has a huge bush and you cannot see that stop sign until you're about 5 feet.
I have another one right over here. I just visited with that lady today, so I'll sure get it about that.
Thank you.
And right at that same intersection,
It might be on
there's
the
a
west.
dip. They did new concrete in there, and
One of them.
that concrete stinking.
Is it the blue house?
Mine and Jefferson. Drive through there, the dip is getting worse.
I have my kids run those streets a lot, but I noticed there's a stop sign. You cannot see it.
I don't see a picture makers in.
I keep going to times it till you get like,
No.
yeah. It's on Jefferson, but it's Western.
Any council updates tonight?
My house is in
Looking great.
I don't have any comments myself.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Third.
Yes. Josh? Jake?
Yes.
Ron?
Yeah.
Do they put cruises that pull up around your house? Do they put cement in that?
Asphalt.
Okay, what do you got?
Pulls up dirt on you, everything is-
It's tough.
Fill with dirt on top of it.
I don't know how, I don't know how.
What are you reading?
I think this.
There we go.
Many times there's.
I support that trails. I want to get this.
Yep.
So when someone abstains, that doesn't help nor hurt, so it's a 2-2, so it's no, it does not pass.
And the mayor.
Fortunately.
So one of the people to bring it back, one of the people that voted no could bring it back.
But the problem is the application.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out, do you?
Well, it should be easier, like, because really what